Peter Drucker said, "The purpose of a business is to create a customer. Unresolved problems drive customers and revenue away. So what's the main problem that keeps us from solving customer problems?" Hi, my name's Vic Hunter, and I'm here to give you another idea engine on how relationships can drive revenue. What I want to start out with here is this realization that for our client, 10 to 30% of their customers are in the zone of defection. And of these customers, 20 to 50% are having no resolution of their problems. No matter how hard we work to solve customer problems every day, and we work very hard, we can't seem to prevent customers from falling into this zone of defection and then leaving. Inventory cycle counting gets more continuous and consistent scoring than our problem-solving performance does. And problems go undetected because we wait for customers to complain. Would you wait for your inventory to run out before you reordered parts? This is what happens when we measure problems by the number of tickets in customer service rather than buying behavior. And somehow, all the time and money spent on the squeaky wheel is seldom justified in terms of its economic importance or current performance. But we keep spending all of our time and money on it anyways. If we know how much money each of these unresolved problems and dissatisfied customers actually cost us, we would have a clear set of investments to make in our customer service. This week, I met with a client's distributor advisory council as a wrap-up to our dealer advocacy project. Overall dealer loyalty is high, but about 18% of the dealers were in the zone of defection. When I passed out confidential, individual distributor dashboards to each owner showing their own loyalty and the percentage of their own dealers in the zone of defection, and then measuring distributor performance to the average and top 20% of their peers, they all had a new yardstick to measure comparative performance. We began with risk, then trust, loyalty, and then pain points. We even took a look at what activities drove loyalty. Guess which one trumped the rest? Yep. Pain is trumping all the other concerns. And the real question or questions that came to the surface were, which of my customers are in the zone of defection and what's driving the customers into that zone of defection? So the question really is, what information do we need to gather to understand which customers are at risk? How are we going to act on that? What would be the measure of economic impact? And then once we do act, how many customers have we been able to retain? And what's the economic value of that retention? Personalize your thank you with dynamic, unique content for each individual, including their name, products purchased, the type of business, even the length of the relationship. Ask them about recent problems. Did they talk to your company about it? Welcome the complaints. Ask whether the problem was solved. Don't forget to use a 7-point behavioral scale to measure your responses to these questions. If there were, ask about the problem. And sometimes there's more than one problem, so allow for multiple answers. Never ignore any unresolved problem or any customer less than pleased with its resolution. Find out who's responding for an idea of just how this problem impacts them. Thank your customer. Don't forget to go back and tell your customers what you've learned from their feedback and what you're going to do to solve those key problems. And be sure to remind them when you go back the next time to survey what you've done with these problems. So welcoming these complaints and quantifying those with a proactive outreach into the market really allows us to put together this resolution retention dashboard. What I want to do is I just want to walk you through that, and I want to show you how you can construct an economic model around these complaints and this ability to get people to now complain about problems that they have, but they've gone undetected in the past. So first what we do is we look for, was there a problem or wasn't there a problem? Now, if there was a problem, it may be that they reported the problem, but a lot of people don't report the problem, about 50%. And then based on having reported the problem or not reporting the problem, were they satisfied? Were they mitigated, or were they not satisfied? And we can get those kind of ratings for each of these groups of customers and each of these types of problems, so that for those that have been reported and those that have not been reported, we can look at the risk of losing a customer based on that problem. Now, what that allows us to do is move down into this economic impact, where we look at the number of customers that have each of these problems, we look at the severity of the problem right here, and then we look at the economic value of the customer. And based on the economic value of the customer, the severity of the problem, and the number of times that problem exists, we now have the economic impact of increasing the number of customers that we can track to the problem creating that risk. So now that we know where the greatest economic impact, let's invest in it. Let's first invest in making sure that customers who have problems have those problems satisfied to their expectations. So we move those number of experiences that are in the 4s and 3s up into the 5s and even into the 6s. And then after we've made that investment, after we've improved the experience, we want to get more people who are not complaining to complain. And this means that those complaints will be more visible to us, and we'll be able to solve more of those problems to the satisfaction of the customer. That's the kind of investment that will allow us to reduce the customer defection and really focus on the problems that have the greatest impact on our revenue. So for now, if you have questions about this resolution dashboard, or you'd like a copy of this economic modeling, just drop me a note or give me a call. Thank you for joining us today in understanding how to survey your customers and increase the number of problems reported and decrease the defection of your customers. Another idea engine for moving relationships into revenue.